Welcome back to the Operation Anti-Indoctrination podcast. I'm your host, JB. Hello, we have a great show for you today, a very good show. I think you will enjoy it greatly and learn a lot. So, today we're going to be talking about a little something called self-education, because that's what I think we all need to be doing a lot more of, is self-education. We can't rely on these outdated and old institutions that were never set up to work for us in the first place. We have to basically set up our own community, our own network of education, instead of relying on these old entities that have no interest for us, no interest for we the people, no interest for the country of America. We have to have our own, we have to educate ourselves by our own devices. And I will be going through why I believe this to be the case. We'll be going over through some of the major problems with the school system, some of the major issues, and talking about a little bit perhaps why they dumb us down, why they indoctrinate us. And by the way, this episode is meant for people of all ages. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you live. It does not matter one bit. It's made for everybody, this episode. Self-education can start at literally any age. It doesn't matter, all right? It can start if you're 5 years old, and it can start if you're 100 years old. It's anything goes. So, we need to go through why the school system is terrible. And let's start out with nutrition. Nutrition is very important. As much as some of us would perhaps not like it to be so important, it is. And in many cases, the food pyramid in the school system and overall just school lunches contribute to the degradation of nutrition, contribute to obesity, and contribute to not feeling very good. So you have to look at the food pyramid. Now, the food pyramid was created in the 1990s with outdated research and by lobbyists, not nutritionists, not scientists, and it was created for profit. And so now you have this, now you have school lunches where you have a few companies that have literally monopolized the school lunch industry. It's a big industry. And you have these companies that do not have any of our best interests at heart. There's no competition whatsoever. So I guess it's kind of corporatism, but the problem here is that nutrition's kind of important, especially when you're young, gotta kind of get started off on the right foot. But you have basically this massive promotion of grain. That's sort of the heart of it all. And there's been lots of studies that have shown that school lunches are correlated. Doesn't necessarily mean cause, but correlated. Kids that eat school lunches are not as active. They don't participate in as many extracurricular activities. They're more overweight. So it's just not good. And this is directly caused by the school system. They have directly contributed to our epidemic of obesity. And that's not good. And so, look at this right here. A 8-ounce, 330-gram serving of hamburger daily is technically permitted under the pyramid. I mean, this is not how you want to go about things. It's really, really not. Just as bad as the lack of good nutrition in the school system is the death of recess. Death of recess is really not good. That is an integral part of learning, and don't let anyone tell you differently. Recess is extremely, extremely important. This is a very good article here by The Best Schools. You have, there's something horribly wrong with America's children. They can't focus. They can't remain silent. You have the ADHD epidemic. They can't study, recite, memorize. They can't do anything because that's not what they're programmed to do. When you're a kid, you're not programmed, and it's very, very hard to transform you into someone that can just sit there all day, looking straight ahead at the board, no thoughts on your mind, full attention to the teacher, listening to stuff, copying down things. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous idea, but if you do that, then the teacher's gonna get mad at you because you were following your innate human nature. I mean, that's crazy. Why would you ever do that? So you have the very, very bad situation where kids have lost over half their recess time in the last couple decades, and it's terrible because recess lets you burn energy so that you can focus later on. It's a very simple concept, And recess is actually probably the most valuable part of the school system. And even when you do have recess now, you're not allowed to run, you can't play tag, you can't play dodgeball, you can't play sharks and minnows, you can't do anything because the rules are so ridiculous. So it's horrible stuff. This system. So that's a big part. That needs to be a big part of your self-education. Is nutrition. You have to eat well, and being active. Now, this doesn't mean you need to be in the gym for 2 hours a day. That's not what it means at all. But it means that you need to be doing stuff. Maybe with friends, or for a half hour a day. Just be active. That's very important. Again, self-education. We all need to educate ourselves. That's our best shot at success. And a big part of that is being active. That needs to happen. So this isn't really part of self-education here, but this is just, I thought, very, very important. And it's not really noticed, but the school system does cause this in a lot of ways, is the single mother fatherhood rate. As you can see, it's much higher for mothers than fathers, but you have, this says here, about 1 in 5 children are living with a solo mom. Married parents are going married. The percentage of parents that are married has been going down since the 1960s at least. You have solo mothers, you have even many solo fathers, and then you have cohabitating parents. Like, that's a great recipe for success right there. Living together with someone you hate, that's got to be nice. And I mean, if you look at this here, this is very concerning as well, especially if you break it down racially, which you may want to do. It gives you a different perspective. However, the school system does this basically, and this is kind of hard to understand, but basically they foster this idea of dependence, of you can't think for yourself with that assignment. You have to do exactly as we tell you. No creativity. You dare to think for yourself? You can't do that. And that transitions when you get out of school. You don't know how to get a job. You don't know how to do anything. So you rely on Uncle Sam. Like, gee, he's going to be great. You basically marry the government. And you have kids out of wedlock because you were never taught morality. I mean, that's off the table completely. So it's just going to be a terrible time. You're just going to have an absolutely terrible time. And then this statistic over here is absolutely mind-blowing. You have 40% of births are to unmarried women. So that is a staggering number, which just 50 or 60 years ago was almost nothing. I mean, you look at this, was 5-10%. That's not much at all. And it's grown fourfold over the last 60 years, even while we've made supposedly all these advances in equality and all that. We've supposedly made all these great advances. Yet life's worse for everybody. Isn't that funny? I mean, it makes you think a little bit, but this is not good. You have literally less than half of children are living with two parents in their first marriage. Less than half. And then you have everything else down. You have everything else below here. You have 15% are living with two parents in a remarriage. 7% of kids are living with cohabitating parents. That's got to be great. Again, 26% of parents or kids are living with a single parent, and 5% have supposedly no parent, which has also increased. So all these numbers are increasing, and except for this very simple number here, two parents in their first marriage. That should be the norm. That should not be literally less than half of cases. That's absolutely absurd. That's really, really not good. So again, just to show you the damage this is. So if you're a parent listening to this, please do not develop that mindset of, I guess if you're a young person, don't develop the mindset of, I'll rely on the government. Don't do that. You may say, why? The government, it may not be super nice or super, not exactly something you take pride in, but, it's fine. The system exists. No, don't do it. It's a trap. You are going to become you're reliant on this institution that does not care about you, and you'll effectively end up marrying the government. Don't do it. I'm seriously here. And this is the effects of the welfare state paired with a system that is meant to dumb you down. So we need self-education. That's the only way forward, and not, oh, can I do calculus? Can I do advanced geometry? Can I do algebra? That's the be-all and end-all. Not social skills. Not how do I get a mortgage. Not how do I pay my taxes. Not how do I get a job. No. Because if I can do literary analysis, then I'm good for the rest of my life. It's not going to go well. Because the school system has monopolized childhood. They have monopolized it, essentially. You now have this rise in toxic relationships with parents where kids hate their parents. I've seen this firsthand. It's very common. So we have an article here from Psychology Today, which is actually a kind of decent thing. And you can see here that and this is just one of hundreds and hundreds of articles. I'm not going to look them any up, but just look up, literally, kids having a bad relationship with parents, or toxic relationship between kids and parents, or parents hating kids hating parents. You will find hundreds of articles on this because it is this new. It's always existed, no doubt. There's always been some form of that. However, it's a phenomenon now. It's a new phenomenon that is almost widespread. I've seen it lots and lots of times. Now, I'm not advocating for you to, stay super. Well, I think people should be close with their parents. I'm not saying you should be you should never leave them or you should never do anything else, but having a good relationship with your parents is extremely important. Sons with fathers, especially. You just look at the benefits of having a good father, and that's very important. But we need to have functioning families. You need a functioning society. That's the only way that a country survives, is when it has a functioning society. Stability is criminally underrated in this country because we've always had it. We've had it for virtually all of the last 200 and some years, almost all of it, really, like 95% of the time. So it's tremendously overrated, stability. But it's very important to have, and I fear that that's breaking down right now. Because of the school system, this is related to everything we've talked about so far. Literally everything. The food pyramid, the recess, the single fatherhood rates, the toxic relationships, is the depression rates. The depression rates have been soaring for over 10 years now. Largely because of social media and the school system. So, these statistics here are incredible. Third leading cause of death, every 100 minutes there's a suicide. This is not good. There's this epidemic which nobody is talking about. This is the real epidemic, if you know what I mean. You can pause and read these statistics. It's incredible what's happening, where you have this society that seems to be totally apathetic to the youth and their issues, the depression, the suicide, the illiteracy, which I haven't gotten to, and I don't have time to get to, but all these tremendous issues which are killing our country. You look at our society, you say, oh boy, it's all degrading. Wow. Look who's raising the kids. Look at what's happening to the kids. Why do you think this is going on? It comes from youth. It comes from the school system that has utterly and totally failed our everybody, all of us, our country, our society. It's horrible. So, you also, basically, the message of this show is we know what the schools are. This is just a very, very short kind of, I guess, introduction to the school system on how horrible it is. A sort of primer, I guess. But I suggest you do more research and you watch some of our other episodes. And here are some very interesting quotes that I've found about unschooling, which is basically what I'm advocating right now, where you take learning into your own hands. You figure out what works best for you. Don't spend all day reading essays and writing essays and doing literary analysis. Learn how to do things. Get some experience. Make sure you're being physically active. All right, this is what we've done for thousands of years. We didn't have schools for 95% of human history. So we had basically free learning, or whatever you want, open source learning, unschooling, deschooling, whatever you want to call it here. That's I mean, all the greatest inventors in history, they didn't take school seriously. Rockefeller, Carnegie, George Westinghouse, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, I could go on and on and on. But all the greatest people in history did not take school seriously. Let's be honest. You have Einstein saying, education is what remains after one has forgotten everything he learned in school. It is a miracle that curiosity survives formal education. You have John Holt, great guy, you should check him out, by the way, saying, we destroy the disinterested love of learning in children, which is so strong when they are small, by encouraging and compelling them to work for petty and contemptible rewards. Gold stars or papers marked with 100 and tacked to the wall, or A's on report cards, in short, for the ignoble satisfaction of feeling that they are better than someone else. We kill not only their curiosity, but their feeling that it is a good and admirable thing to be curious, so that by the age of 10, earlier, most of them will not ask questions and will show a good deal of scorn for the few who do. So you see what I mean. So again, self-education. If you've already been through school, repair yourself, put yourself back together, fulfill the potential. Your potential is there. You can do this. I mean, this is... And we need this. We need this for our society to survive. Society's kind of important. A good society is a kind of important thing to have. There's lots of good quotes there. From H.L. Mencken? What is the purpose of industrial education? To fill the young of the species with knowledge and awaken their intelligence? Nothing could be further from the truth. The aim is simply to reduce as many individuals as possible to the same level, to breed and train a standardized citizenry, to put down dissent and originality. That is the aim in the United States, and that is its aim everywhere. Very true. I've concluded that genius is as common as dirt. We suppress our genius only because we haven't figured out how to manage a population of educated men and women. The solution, I think, is simple and glorious. Let them manage themselves. That's John Taylor Gatto. So, you have to educate yourself. No one's doing it for you. The school system was not meant to educate you. It was meant to teach you how to become a soldier in the army, or how to work in a factory, and how to obey orders. That's the school system. That kills a society, though. At large, that kills a society, especially ours, where you don't have so many factory jobs anymore. You have a high information economy. So, if I may end with one last quote here, if I can find it right. Schools have not necessarily much to do with education. They are mainly institutions of control where certain basic habits must be inculcated in the young. Education is quite different and has little place in school. That's Winston Churchill. So, you can see that all the greats in history, all the greats, did not like, or at least disregarded, the institution of public schooling, because they understood what few do, that the institution is completely and utterly useless. It does not serve any real purpose. But for some reason, most parents and people think it does. Who knows why? Well, that was a fun episode, but anyway, I would like to stick to the positive side, because you can do this. I mean, I know you can do this, because I know everyone can do this. You can learn yourself. You can get your own experience. You can pull yourself up. We can all do it. It's just, do you have the willpower and the discipline, which is much more powerful than motivation, by the way. Alright, I think that's a wrap. So, if you did enjoy this episode and you're on YouTube, please do subscribe and leave a like. And I would really appreciate if you shared the video. That'd be pretty awesome. And my email is in the description. We have some social media down in the description. That's pretty cool. You can go check them out. So yeah. Until next time, I've been your host, JB. Have a great rest of your day, and goodbye.